Ladies and gentlemen, today you are learning what your specific person is thinking when you are affirming for them. Now, this is a very highly requested topic. Everybody wants to know about thought transmission. So, to help you fully understand it and fully utilize this topic, I have 4 pointers today that I want to go over. So, without wasting any time, let's dive right in. The first pointer is affirming. I'll just put affirm for now. And what exactly that means as far as thought transmission and what we'll be going over today. Now, we utilize the term when you affirm because most people make use of affirmations, and a large chunk of people only utilize affirmations. So it's just easier to sort of tailor to the masses. But I want you to know that if you only visualize, if you only script, if you only affirm on occasion, it still works because affirmations are just a way of manifesting. They're a way of utilizing consciousness, just the same as visualization is a way of utilizing consciousness, and so on. Now, the analogy that I like to consider for this kind of topic is the idea of transportation. They're each different modes of transportation to get you from where you are to where you desire to be. So, say we've got, oh God, my artistic skills are really coming in here. You've got affirmations are a car. I'm just going to do a rectangle with wheels for a bus. Visualization is a bus. And then you've got, what does a bike even look like? A wagon. A wagon. So you've got affirmations are a car, visualizations are a bus, and then scripting is a wagon, for example. And any other technique you have would be a different mode of transport. They all get you from point A to point B. Just the same way as each technique is just a different way of utilizing consciousness. Affirmations are spoken consciousness. Visualization is visual consciousness. Scripting is written consciousness, for example. So each one of these methods are getting you from point A, not having your desire, not living in the end, to point B, having your desire, living in the end mentally, which of course then fabricates it physically. So with anything that you do, any video that you see that says like, this visualization got me my person, or what your person thinks when you affirm, you can translate and swap them out for the other techniques because they're all doing the same thing, just in different methods. They are all shifting consciousness to get you what you want. Just the same way as each one of these modes of transport are getting you to where you desire to be. Now, yes, you could argue, and I do want to make a little pointer on this, that this would be faster than this, which would definitely be faster than a wagon. And from a techniques perspective, I would say there is some truth in that as well. For example, a perfectly executed SATS session is likely going to be much more effective for impressing the subconscious mind than a 2-minute script that you did while waiting for your bus. So if you want to be as quickly as possible with manifesting and with impressing the subconscious mind, then I urge you to really utilize the techniques from a calm, collected space, a relaxed space, and really immerse yourself into them. But doing them if and when you can is still going to be more effective than not doing them at all. So don't worry about this analogy and the way it makes it seem like one technique is faster than the other. Manifesting is faster than not manifesting. Just the same way as going to the gym when you're super energized, well rested, you've had a high carb meal and you're ready to go, is probably going to be better for you than going to the gym super tired. But going to the gym super tired is better than nothing. So don't take this analogy here or what I just said to mean if you're not doing SATs and you've screwed it, your person is still picking up on it, even if it is that 2-minute scripting session. Just wanted to clear that up. But that is the first pointer. So the title is When You Affirm, because that's what a more frequent amount of people are doing. But if you only visualize, if you only script, if you only do magic rituals and spells, if you only do the water in the cup method, it's still applying. Everything that we're about to go over is still applying. So do not sweat the small stuff. And I hope you enjoyed my picture of what was meant to be a bike, but ended up being a wagon as a way of saving face. So that is point number one. Affirmations are just a statement, a declaration. You can swap affirmations out for visualizations, scripting, anything like that. And this stuff here will still be effective. And all the different forms of techniques are ways of guiding consciousness from point A to point B, just the same as all these different modes of transport will get you from point A to point B. Now, we have what you're actually here for, which is what they are picking up on. Wi-Fi. I use this analogy a lot, and I think it's because it perfectly explains it, and it's one of my favorites, and you guys seem to love it. But manifestation and thought transmission, more specifically, are like spiritual Wi-Fi. We've got you here, smiley person. If you have more hair than that, just go with it for now. You are connected to everyone and everything else through what I like to call spiritual Wi-Fi. Just the same way as, you pick up your phone, you connect to the internet, you can send an instant message to your mum over in Cuba, an instant message to your dad over in Africa, an instant message to your uncle in the UK, like that. You just send it, boom, they've received it, they can respond to you. You're connected to them via Wi-Fi, mobile connection, whatever. And they're picking up the signals that you send. Hey, Dad, I miss you. Are you coming home for Christmas? You send that, and within a second, they pick it up. They can respond to you, and within a second, you get it. Within 5 seconds, assuming you're both sat on your phone, within 5 seconds, you've asked a question and got an answer from someone across the world. Manifestation is no different. Manifestation has the same elements of connectedness, of it happening in the background. You send the text, but you don't know how it works. Like you may have like a sort of a basic understanding from a scientific term, but you can't see the signal. You can't see their phone receiving it and see their phone sending it back. Hell, you can't even see them texting it unless you're in the same room, but it works. It happens. Manifestation is the same thing. Almost dropped my pen. So we've got you here, happy, smiling. You're thinking something. And the reason why I've got these different things is, I'll explain in a second. But you think something, your subconscious mind takes that and connects you to the necessary people for them to download that signal, for want of a better term. So say, for example, you think all teenagers are a pain in the ass. You're walking down the street, you see a pack of wild teenagers, and you're like, ugh. These people, teenagers, will likely be picking up on that. And this actually has a lot of nuances to consider that I won't go into too much detail into right now, but you'll notice how teenagers will typically be a bit more rowdy and a bit more of a pain in the ass for certain groups of people than others. This is why. Those certain groups of people will have a view on teenagers that their subconscious mind is forcing them to play out, thus them showing up as such. Teenagers, the people thinking those opposite things at the teenagers, they won't get the same troubles. Back when I was a lot younger, I used to feel quite intimidated walking past crowds of teenagers or sort of like, young lads, for want of a better term. And lo and behold, every single time, without fail, I walked past them, they'd get rowdy and they'd say stuff and they'd, be assholes. As I got older, the more I realized they're just little kids. They kind of look like slightly bigger labubus. I don't care. And I have not had a single rowdy comment, a single insult, any form of harassment or irritation from a group of teenagers for the last 7 years since I stopped thinking it. Because despite this being a collective, my consciousness was sending out the signal to those approaching teenagers, assholes. They downloaded that signal and acted accordingly. So this does work for everything as well, not just your specific person. You can use this on your manager, on your mum, on your friend's boyfriend, or whatever. But anyway, back to the original topic. So you think a thought. For the purposes of the analogy, you thinking the thought is the same as writing out the text. You click send, The thought gets sent, you finish the thought, it connects you to the spiritual Wi-Fi that connects you to everything and everybody else, and the necessary recipient will download it. The teenagers that you think are assholes, the co-worker that you think just non-stop complains, your specific person who you are deeply in love with. So what is happening is you are sending off this signal, this thought text, for want of a better term. Wi-Fi is picking it up, sending it over to them. They are downloading it. They are having thoughts in accordance. Now, please take note of that word, accordance. I say accordance, and this is anecdotal research that I'm about to give you here. So if you have a different opinion, by all means, put it in the comment. We can have a chat about it. Oh, I spelled accordance wrong. So accordance, from my research, from my testing, from my delving into this topic to give you as best information as possible, it isn't always one for one that they pick up. And what I mean by that is, if I was thinking, Deborah is pretty, she may not necessarily pick up directly on I am pretty. She might have something in accordance to that thought, which could be today. I'm not going to write the whole thing, but today I look pretty. It's not quite the same as I am pretty or Deborah is pretty, but it's in accordance to today I look pretty. Or let's say you're visualizing, a wedding. That's my ring. You're visualizing, you and your specific person being married. They may not necessarily have the one-for-one thoughts of the wedding, but they may have thoughts of getting married, i.e., I'm ready to get married. Matthew is the person I want to get married to. It would be lovely to get married. If I was to get married, this would be the venue. They think things in accordance to the topic at hand. Now, yes, it definitely can be one for one. I've had this reflected as well. I've had instances where I've thought, I really fancy USA, which is the name of a takeaway place near my house. And within seconds, Katie will be like, I really fancy USA. She'll say the exact words that I was thinking. So it definitely can happen one to one. But generally what I have found is that it happens in accordance. It's related to the topic. So instead of I am pretty, it may be today I look pretty. I would look pretty with this outfit. Or when I wear this outfit, it makes me feel pretty. Or the way that Matthew looked at me made me feel pretty. Things like that. It can be in accordance or it can be one to one. But what I have found from testing as best as possible is they are picking up on the topic, the theme. If you're thinking wedding bells, they're thinking marriage. If you're thinking pretty, they're thinking something positive. If you're thinking angry stuff, then they will be picking up on that as well in accordance, which is point 3. So just bear with me on that. So what we're getting into here is they are picking up on the theme of your topic, but they are still picking up on it. Now the reason, and this next part is purely an educated guess based on my entire time doing this, the way that the mind works, delving into psychology and so on. The reason why I believe that it's in accordance and not necessarily one to one is because your person picks up on this stuff seemingly in real time. From the most of my experiences in testing that I've seen, it happens extremely fast. You may not necessarily get evidence in your 3D extremely fast, but whenever I've tested this and someone has relayed my thought transmission, and I've asked, when did you start thinking that? It's usually within a very short period of time from when I did the work, or, manifestation stuff. And the reason why I believe that this is in accordance and not necessarily one-to-one is because with all of this, it feels like their thought. Everything that you are sending them through your thoughts goes to them and they think it is their own. It's being downloaded and absorbed as though it was their own idea, their own thoughts, their own intrusive thought, maybe their own plan, their own whatever. And it's because of that factor, and because of the way that the subconscious mind builds our reality, this is why it is in accordance. Because you may have noticed in most cases, and there are definitely some examples that I have from my own life, and I'm sure you've had, where it feels like it's just you've jumped into a new reality and things are 180 degrees different from what they were. But generally speaking, the way that our reality builds is very seemingly linear. And the reason why I believe this is the case is to keep the conscious mind from basically exploding. You know, if every single day you woke up and because you were manifesting a new house, say for example, you woke up in that new house, or you know, you're manifesting a relationship and you went to bed alone and you woke up with them in your bed. If things happen like that, I think our conscious mind would melt down. No one would want to do anything because while it would be getting nice stuff, imagine if you had all of your stuff here and then all of a sudden you're still in a different house. You have to learn the area, you have to try and all of a sudden figure out how your kids get to school and so on. It would be a problem, in my opinion. So it's because of this factor that the subconscious mind builds things in what seems very linear to keep the conscious mind from falling apart. If they got a one-to-one of your thoughts and subsequently acted on that, it would be very similar to what I've just explained there. There would be a constant like flood of like, oh, I want to get married to Deborah, I'm getting married today, because that's the one-to-one thought, you know? But because the subconscious mind kind of, where can I put it, up here, has this kind of like linear way of building, linear way of building your reality, it has to be in accordance to get you from point A to point B in a way that sort of stops you from melting down consciously. Now that, like I said, is just purely my own sort of educated and belief on why things seem to just change so linearly, and why, say for example, most people when revising a situation don't have the things just appear in front of you. I have heard stories of the opposite. Even Sammy Ingram once posted a video saying she revised something and it did appear physically in front of her when it wasn't there. But I've never personally had that experience, and a lot of people that I've spoken to about revision haven't either. So just for the purposes of what I'm explaining here, this is why I think revision for the most part works out as though it never happened, and not always with the definitive everybody has forgotten, things have appeared out of nowhere. And that's why it's in accordance, because it's got to get you from point A to point B in a way that consciously makes sense. If they've never thought about marriage before, all of a sudden day two being, you know, wedding bells and vows written may not necessarily be structurally make structural sense. Whereas if they start thinking about things like, you know what, I think I'm ready to start getting married, I'm going to open myself up to it, that then leads on that journey, if that makes sense. But like I said, that is just my educated guess on why things seem linear and on why they pick up on accordance. I have had, like I said, Katie say things exactly as I've said, or my friends say things exactly as I've said, but generally speaking, it'll be in accordance. But that is, you know, what they're picking up. You are connected to everything and everyone else. When you think thoughts, visualize things, affirm things, script things, you are engaging your consciousness into a story of sorts that is being picked up on your spiritual Wi-Fi and being sent to the necessary recipients who are downloading said story. So if you want the positive opposite of that, think good stuff. And that is actually what point 3 is, which I'll get into now. I'm going to rub all this off, and while I do, if you could drop me a like and a comment on this video, it really helps the channel out. There were some really amazing comments and a lot of amazing support. Did I bring the tissue in for it? I can't remember if I did. I don't see it. There was a lot of amazing support on the Monday's video where it was the whiteboard one. I had intended to get a little microphone and an easel to make this a little bit easier, but they haven't actually arrived yet, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But yeah, so if you could drop me a like and a comment, it really helps the channel grow. It really helps me kind of know what content you want to see. If you would like more help from me on a one-to-one basis, I do have obviously services available for that. And like I said in the last video, I've recently just made the membership the academy a monthly option as well. So definitely go check that out, gain access to all my courses and discounts, all the exclusive members only videos and more. Extremely affordable and offers so much value, as well as a private Telegram group where you can meet other like-minded individuals who are absolutely kicking ass. But yeah, thank you for that. Drop me a like, drop me a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and make sure you click that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. But now, getting into point number 3, BW. And BW, as we'll see, you've probably been looking at this, wondering what this is exactly, stands for be warned. Be warned. Your subconscious mind is a powerhouse, but it does not have direction other than what you provide it. Now, you could take this into consideration with basically anything. A car is neutral. If I drive it carefully, I get where I want to go. If I drive it recklessly, I may end up wrapping around a tree. Or, a wrecking ball probably isn't going to do too much damage, but if I swing it at someone's house, it will. Electric in and of itself isn't a problem. If I start zapping people, it's a problem. So most things with some kind of destructive capability is neutral until utilized in the wrong way. And your mind, this creative power, is the exact same thing. The subconscious mind does not have a direction outside which you provide it. So this infinite power source right here is sitting there with so much energy and capability waiting for you to give it direction. If you start thinking booty and go this way, expect your person to pick up on bad things. If you start thinking things like they never want to commit, I'm not going to write all that, but if you start thinking they don't want to commit, I just write no commit. Or if you're thinking things like they think I'm ugly, or they prefer that kind of person, and things like that, well, we go back to this key word here. I don't know why I do the R. Oh my God. Bear with me. Apparently I can't write. I did it again. Bear with me. Apparently I can't write. And then we'll do that again. If we go back to that word accordance, they don't want to commit to me. I don't want to commit to anyone. Yeah, you know what? Matthew's really not worth committing to. It'd be a bit of a pain to commit to. I'm ugly. You know what? I've realized that 5'7" men aren't for me. That's me. I'm a short king. And things like that. They'll think things in accordance. This power here is neutral. And even though it is your subconscious mind, it isn't working for you unless you make it work for you. So be warned, if you're going to sit there moaning and complaining and whining and reacting and focusing on all of these positive things, you are just taking this creative power and giving it the left direction, which leads you to having your person think things in accordance to that negative direction. Don't expect them to want to give you what you want if you are feeding them thoughts in accordance to not giving you what you want. On the flip side of that, if you take that creative power and think good things, commitment, oh, I spelled it wrong. Commitment, happiness, things like that, then they're going to think things in accordance to that. Oh, Matthew's been really nice to me lately. I think he'd be the perfect person for me to settle down with. Or, you know what, being in Matthew's company makes me happy. Things like that. They're thinking things in accordance to that story, which is going to lead you, if you'll remember, on that linear path that the subconscious mind makes to getting from where you are, which is single, point A, to point B, which is commitment. This creative power is going to work for you if you work for you. If you don't, it won't. If you say you had 2 houses, you had your house and you had your, I don't know, an enemy's house, for example. Looks like an eggplant. And you got a wrecking ball in the middle. Thinking bad thoughts, aims that wrecking ball at your house. Do you want to destroy your own house? Probably not. So let's maybe not do that, and let's aim the wrecking ball at your enemy's house by thinking thoughts that leans that wrecking ball that way. The wrecking ball is neutral. It stood still until the person behind the control panel decides this way through thoughts or that way through thoughts. So consider that. If you're ever sat there having a negative thought, stop for a second and say, am I aiming the wrecking ball toward the creation of my desire or away from it? If you're aiming it away in this example, it's a good thing. So you're thinking thoughts that are good. You get where I'm going. Hopefully this analogy isn't too confusing. But what I'm basically saying is that you need to be warned. If you're going to sit there thinking bad, they are still picking up on that. The subconscious mind doesn't go, oh, well, I'm Matthew's subconscious mind. We go way back, so I'm not going to send that signal out. Your phone doesn't stop you from sending messages that you shouldn't send. The mailman doesn't check through the mail to see, oh, maybe that letter shouldn't go there. I'm going to bin it. Your subconscious mind is just the same. If you give it an instruction, it's going to create based on that instruction. So be warned, BW, be warned. This power is neutral. Use it for your benefit because you are what guide the direction based on your thoughts, your feelings, your awareness, the techniques that you use, and so on. So utilize it in your favor. Because if you can do that, if you think these good thoughts over here, commitment, happiness, and so on, they're picking up on the thoughts in accordance to that, which gets you getting them through the spiritual Wi-Fi, creating the relationship, creating the trajectory of you getting what you want. So for the love of God, just, take care of your thoughts. And as I explained in last week's video, breath work is my favorite way to keep yourself under control. If you start having those negative thoughts, it's perfectly normal. You're human. It's not what comes up that matters. It's where you take it. But you need to make sure you take it in the right direction. If you have those negative thoughts come up, but you just let them play out and just stay focusing on them, then you're unfortunately feeding your subconscious mind bad stories, which is going to be feeding your specific person bad stories as well. So when it comes up, when those negative thoughts come up, stop, take some deep breaths, calm yourself down, and then choose to think positive. Because just the same way as your subconscious mind is neutral when fed a direction, it also doesn't argue with you. The only kind of arguments that you may get will be from your conscious mind and the ego. Now, the ego is a lot less frequent and active during alpha brainwave states, delta brainwave states, gamma brainwave states, theta brainwave states. So what this means is if you do some breath work and calm yourself down, you'll actually take the ego aside for a moment, allowing you to then have a much greater time to think the new thoughts that your subconscious mind will just simply take on board. Breathwork is my recommended way. EFT tapping, theta wave music, meditation, calming music, even exercise, anything that changes your mental or physiological state will benefit you. So you have a bad thought comes up, that's a negative sign. Bad thought comes up, you notice it, you stop it, and then once you feel a little bit calmer because you've done some breath work, some calming stuff, you then go on and think new thoughts. So you take away, you stop, you calm down, then you add something positive to your brainwaves, to your thought patterns. And that will get you on board. Now, the fourth and final point that I want to make here today is, how can I just shorten this? Unknown. What happens if they don't know you? This makes sense. This is Deborah from the office. If I sit there and think, Deborah's so lazy, well, I know Deborah. I feed Deborah the story. Deborah knows me. She stays being lazy. Let me give you a different example, actually. Let me say Deborah hates me. So I know Deborah. I think Deborah hates me. Deborah then picks up on that signal, continues to hate me. Makes sense, right? She knows me. Makes sense how this would work. But what happens if they don't know you? Now, this one is a little bit harder to test, but I have done tests on it as best as I could. And what I have found, again, we go back to this word here, accordance. They think things in accordance to getting you, because this is all the subconscious mind does, it gets you from point A to point B. Even if they don't know you, they still think things in accordance to getting to know you. So let's say, for example, and I've used this example before, so I'm going to use it again because it seemed to go down quite well. Let's say, there's Graham. Graham doesn't know you. He's someone that you saw on like a suggested thing on Facebook, for example. Suggested friends, you just happen to live in the same city. And yes, I know that there's going to be a million different examples of like, well, what if they're a celebrity? What if they're this? What if they're that? The same sort of principles will apply. You can use your imagination to turn this example into one that tailors towards you, but the principles here will still apply, whether it's a celebrity, a family friend, someone at your local gym, or whatever. Okay? Just take that into consideration. But this is Graham, I think I said. He lives in your city. You saw him on Facebook. You got one mutual friend. You've never seen him in person, but he looks like your kind of guy. If you start thinking commitment with Graham even. I think that's wrong. Let's say that you're thinking about being committed to Graham. Now, Graham doesn't know you. So how can Graham sit there and go, relationship with Alice. Let's say your name is Alice. Graham doesn't know you, Alice, so Graham can't really think about you, so to speak. If we're going by what I said earlier about stopping the mental breakdown of the conscious mind, if you were to all of a sudden be implanted in this person's brain and they don't know who you are and you're there, yeah, maybe a bit worrisome. Like, who the hell is this person? That's the cause of some sort of horror book where they find some, ancient ancestor who's just started to possess them. It's that kind of situation. If all of a sudden you just start appearing in their mind. So because of this idea of accordance with linear conscious structure, Graham may start thinking things in relation to commitment and helps you get to where you want to be. So say, for example, Graham now starts thinking that he's now happy to commit. He may start thinking the kind of person he wants to commit to, which just so happens could be your rough description. He could start thinking about hitting the gym, for example, because conveniently, remembering the subconscious mind, the subconscious mind, put it here, is trying to get you from point A to point B. He starts going to the gym. Turns out you guys go to the same gym. You then enter his awareness because of the gym. He then starts thinking about you because of all his other normal stuff that we put, because everybody is connected. Even if he doesn't know you, you are connected. So if you start thinking things, positive things, things that help your end result, help get you from point A to point B, your brain will enter spiritual Wi-Fi, send him a signal that gets him acting in accordance to get you from point A to point B. He may join the gym that you're at, sees that you are his type, and then, hit you up, whatever term. Or he may start thinking about how he's happy to commit, jumps on a dating site, you're there. You could put any number of examples here, but you get where I'm going at it. If they don't know you specifically, like personally, that doesn't all of a sudden stop this, because you are connected. We bring about everything we experience through stories, which means if this stuff didn't work, if someone didn't know you, I wouldn't have any of you here. You are all drawn in one form or another to get you to my channel. It could have been that you were having a problem and I had the solution in one of my videos. So YouTube plays it out because I've created you to see me. I've been, let's say, for example, Affirming, my subscriber count goes up. So because of that, I then appear more on YouTube. You have the pull to watch my video and now you're here, for example. If we can all agree that we create our reality, if people didn't know you and had no pull based on that, but yet you're the one creating your reality, then no one would ever know anybody, if you're sort of following my thought pattern here. So it doesn't all of a sudden stop working because they don't know you. It just has a slightly different way of working to make it still be their idea while still following that sort of back and forth, sort of straight line, linear structuring. If you just randomly appeared in their brain and they were like, I'm marrying this person, they might get a little bit freaked out. They might get checked into a psych ward before they even got the chance to meet you, for example. So if they don't know you, they will think things in accordance that will get them to the point of knowing you. Whether that's joining the gym that you're at, whether that's joining dating sites that you're at, whether that's telling their mum that they're ready to commit and their mum just happens to go to this hairdresser where your mum was there at the same time, and then your mum goes, oh, I've got someone that's perfect for you, and then sets you up on a date. Doesn't matter. Subconscious mind is literally just built to get you from A to B, as far as what we're concerned with here in the sort of topic of manifestation. If you feed it the right outcome through thoughts, if you remember, let me just get that little mini thing up. If you direct the direction of your infinite energy in favor of outcome B, which is having what you want, the subconscious mind will make whoever is necessary act in accordance. I'm not going to draw a line all the way to accordance, but in accordance to get you to point B, whether that is happy to commit, whether that is deciding that you're the kind of person they want, or whether that is deciding to join the gym and you just happen to be there. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what your person thinks when you affirm. It's been a pleasure to be with you here today. I really hope this makes sense. I hope the analogies have made sense. I hope the drawings haven't been too insulting for you. I draw at a 2-grade level. I'm pretty sure my daughter, who's only like 2.5, actually, she colors it in the lines better than I do. I'll sit there and color it with her and I'll be getting them out. And she's like, no, like this. And I'm like, all right, thanks. Wait till you get old, I'll teach you something. But, as in all this stuff. But I think that is it. You know, we've gone over what affirming is. We've gone over the idea of spiritual Wi-Fi. We've gone over being warned. And we've gone over if they don't know you. That is it, I'm pretty sure. If you do have any other questions, if there's any sort of significant part that I've missed, by all means, let me know down below in the comment section. I really hope this has helped. If it has, drop me a like and a comment to let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and be sure to click that bell icon. And if you need any help from me on a one-to-one basis, sorry, I was thinking if there was something. If you need any help from me on a one-to-one basis, I do have services available. We can do phone calls, we can do emails, we can do video calls. I have the service where I affirm for you, which is exceptionally good. Or there is the Academy, which now has monthly options to join, and on that you can get all of my courses, including the full self-concept one, the full specific person one, the full beating anxiety and overthinking one, and a couple of others. And all my exclusive videos, all my products for free, and discounts and all that lot. So go check it out. You know, do yourself a favor. It's exceptionally well designed and it will give you everything that you need. But for now, thank you for being here. Don't forget to drop me a like. Don't forget to drop me a comment and a subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell icon. And don't forget to come back to the next one. Bye-bye.